Winnie the Pooh Shapes and Sizes is so delightful and very educational. This was released originally in 2006, directed by Dave Bossert, written by Crocker. And as you can imagine, Winnie the Pooh is learning about shapes and sizes, mostly shapes. And Rabbit has tasked Winnie the Pooh with gathering up different shaped boxes to help with his gardening. But Pooh Bear has a problem. He doesn't know what the different shapes are. And with the help of his friends, he learns about several shapes. The main focuses are circles, squares, rectangles, triangles, and diamonds. I feel like diamonds are a little bit more advanced. I don't know why, but I feel like circle, square, triangle, and rectangles are your very basic shapes, and triangles are maybe a little bit more complex, maybe a little bit harder to identify. But I think it does a pretty good job at explaining them. Owl does a great demonstration of the different shapes, and I have to say it's done with a really good narrative structure as well. The fact that Pooh Bear is working towards this end goal of gathering things up for Rabbit. Piglet also needs some help with some photo frames, the frames of which are of course different shapes and sizes. And I think it's very educational, very, very well animated. And there are some pretty good songs in this too. It's a full package, very engaging, and we have a great cast of characters, and I feel like everything's explained very well in a way that very young children can follow along. It also, I think it was Owl who pointed out that shapes are all around us, just take a look. And I like that. I like that it encourages the viewer to look at their own environment and see how many shapes that they can spot. And that's always something great. There's also an interactive element here where the viewer can point out shapes they see on screen, as if, helping out Pooh Bear, which I thought was quite nice. It's really impressive. It's very well done. It's about half an hour, so it's not tremendously long, but it's not too brief either. I think it's enough time to get stuck in with the narrative while repeating a lot of similar things about sizes and shapes and how many corners a square has. I think Owl described a rectangle as a stretched square, which is pretty much how I grew up learning about it. And I think he said a diamond was a square on its tippy toes, which I'd never thought of before, but if that's a way that helps young children to remember it, then so be it. A lot of obviously vibrant, bright colours here as well, and when we see the shapes on screen, they're often always different colours as well, to just make it a little bit easier to identify between the differences. Really impressed with it. Winnie the Pooh Shapes and Sizes is a great narrative, very educational, very, very well animated, with some great characters and great songs thrown in there too. I don't remember seeing this as a child. I would have been a little old. I was 14 when this was released. I knew what a square was by that point. But for young children, I think it's an absolute delight. And I have to say, watching it as a Winnie the Pooh fan, I found it to be rather charming.